Behind me is a CF-MOTO 450, and this is not another one of those reviews because there are a million reviews out there, but this one, a bit different. This time I take it really remote. So yeah, come along and let's try this one. Right, and so we're back with another bike. This time, the 2026 CF-MOTO 450 MT. Now, this bike has been reviewed so many times. I've watched so many videos before I got this. Obviously, it's been out for a fair few years now, so I've kind of known exactly what the bike's about, and I have been excited to ride one. I watched a lot of videos leading up to it to kind of get an idea of what people were saying about it, especially the older ones, and see if they kind of translated to this new one. So it was great to get it. I haven't had it for that long. I think today I was like 160k a day off road, which was really fun. Just a bit of a loop out the back of Canberra, which I love. I actually got to test out a new drone that I purchased to try and get some more content, because a lot of you guys want more riding video than so I'm trying to get that. So I guess let's just talk about the bike itself now. All the stats are online. You can find it. 200 mil of travel, blah, 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 blah. I think there's about 220 mil of ground clearance once I sat on it, which was okay. The suspension's a lot stiffer on this. So much stiffer than, say, the 390, the 300, things like that. This bike really had a lot more play in the suspension. However, this one has the low seat. There doesn't seem to be any high seats available in Australia, which is bizarre. So I did find it a weird sitting position when you kind of sat down and cruise, because your arms were a bit higher. But I guess horses for courses, I'm a bit taller as well, so it may have not worked. But I tell you what, this bike was just great. Like it was fantastic to be able to ride it in its entirety. I really enjoyed it. I did find the power a little lacking, and it did flame out a little bit when I got to some of these harder hill sections, but a lot of research fans found that there are so many mods out there to get the ECU remapped, and so that's a big one. Apart from that, I don't think I'd change anything. The suspension, I could set the sag good. I mean, yes, it's another adventure bike that doesn't have any kind of plastics on the sides, so you can't put saddlebags. So, I mean, it's another one that you're going to have to either get a big plate on the back or those little deflectors. I mean, there's things like that, but what I'm trying to say is, out of the box, this is great. This is a great bike. I prefer the 300, but the 300 Honda, but that has to have work. That has to have suspension done. That's going to need a little pep in the step for the ECU. So this one out of the box is great. I wouldn't change anything. Obviously, we get them in stock form, and I'd love to get one for a long term to really play with it. But out of the box, if you're new to adventure riding, or maybe not new, but you've had some experience and you want to have a bike that will go a bit further, this is it. Now, I've took it on film to all roads, obviously, and some pretty sketchy hill climbs. Off camera, a lot of single track, a lot of sketchy kind of off camber stuff, and yeah, I found the limits to it, but they're a lot further than I was expecting. I know a lot of guys here in Australia use it. I mean, Anthony Solar, Tim Coleman's a big one. They really can show off what this bike can do. I'm definitely not that level, but I found that this bike was fun to kind of flick around. It was small enough. You could be aggressive to have the bike ride aggressively and still stay in control, which is great. It did top out, though, pretty quickly. Like, I think the gearing, you may want to play with the rear sprocket a little bit just to kind of get a little bit more out of it. But if you don't, it had enough crawl for second gear up most hills. As I said, the suspension did work really well, but obviously you can still bottom it out on the windrows, on some downhill sections. And I found any real potholes, if I hit at speed, especially the back, I could really get it to kind of absorb a lot of it without getting a moon booter and putting me on my ass. So all round, this is a great bike out of the package, and I'm not too sure of the costings. I mean, I said that last time and I got in trouble, so the costings for this, I'm not too sure, but it's in that price range of all the other kind of small adventure bikes, and I think that something like this will do you great. Tech-wise, I like it because it's very, very, very minimal. No cruise control, which, yeah, probably the only one that I would have nowadays on a bike, especially if you're doing any road stuff. No heated grips. I'm not too sure. I haven't looked in the specs of the other ones, but this one, no heated grips, no heated seat. The greatest thing, though, about this bike, the traction control, is just a single button on the side of your handlebars that you can turn off and stays off even if the bike gets turned off. So you don't have to, every time you turn the bike off, turn the bike back on, worry about traction control because it's already off. Greatest thing ever. You didn't have to go through 400 menu items to go put a code in for some Aztec to walk across and roll a boulder, then to then open the ABS sensor. No, this is just straight on the handlebar. So that is a win. Everything else wise in the cockpit is minimal. I think that's just great. I love it. It was so easy to use. The screen is on like a hand adjuster, so it goes up and down. Not that I really used it very much between riding on the highway, riding around the streets, and riding out in the forest. I didn't need to worry about it. Once it was set, very much forget. There is room, obviously, if you want to put some navigation stuff up there. So it is really good. The rain today wasn't too bad, so I didn't have to see if there was any updraft, but I didn't get buffered around when I was on the highway either. I could still sit pretty nicely. It's definitely not a big bike though, so it did kind of top out, or not top out, but definitely not sit at 100 as easy as the other bikes. But at the same time, gearing and a bit of an ECU tune, I reckon you could do it. Tyres wise, these are great. You can run a tubeless system on it. I don't know what these were on. Some weird Ride Ambro A42s. They seem to be all right. I mean, I didn't really have much grip, but I didn't have no grip. So a set of Plues would have been great on them. I think in some sections where it was kind of a little steeper and sketchier than these tyres were good for. So probably that would be the one thing. But on the road, these seem to be great. So I think, once again, out of the box, this bike is just ready to go, ready to have an adventure. And I think that's really what we want nowadays, especially with the price of everything. To be able to get a bike and go straight away is important, and this one really can do it. I will keep saying though, comparing it to the 300, that was easier to move in the singles. This was great. The tank is big. I mean, it is very 390. Like it's a bigger, wider bike. And then when you, with your seat so low, this now becomes really big because now your knees are kind of in the zone of the tank. And what I found was in some of the singles truck, I kind of would find it was really hard to move around and kind of get up forward. And I also found on some hill climbs, because of the way the seating position was, my front tire was so light. It was a balance, but I mean, I said that's the way I ride and the way I find it. But on this really steep hill that we kind of use to test a lot of the bike settings that we have, this one I found just really easily popped the wheel. So I'm not too sure if that medium or the kind of the flatter seat would help on that. For me, if I was to purchase this, I would probably just start packing the seat with foam to see exactly where the best position is. But I mean, that's something you can do at home. It's not hard, and it's not that expensive. So maybe something to think about if you buy one of these. Ergonomic wise, bars were great, foot pegs were great. Gear shifter, for me, I like it a little bit further. I've got a bigger foot, so that was fine. Brakes were good. No brake fade, which is a great one. It did like to slide a lot, so I'll probably adjust that over time, but it did really work on some of the big hills that we had out today. They are long, and I didn't see a problem. On the other side of that, I didn't feel like this bike locked up and stepped out either. So, by the end of it, getting this bike to flick around and kind of, do a 180 braking and things like that was easy because of how kind of the back feels so planted. The front, I never got any sketchy moments. Like I didn't get any weird wobbles or even deflections from rocks going through some really gnarly rocky sections. I didn't deflect. It was just very planted, very stable. You will see a lot of peg drag though in some of the videos, and you will see a lot of the bash plate drags. Now this bash plate comes with the bike. I would recommend you going to B&B and getting another one though, because this is plastic. This is just like a bit of 2mm aluminium. You'll beat the shit out of that in no time, and then it's just completely gone. So probably do that, and maybe look at something for your rear brake. Now the rear brake on this, for me, sticks out a little bit too far, and I'd want a tether, which is just to use a bit of wire that connects from your engine block or your frame through your rear brake. Doing that just kind of helps it in case it kind of gets hit, it bends out, it kind of keeps it from snapping off. So maybe look at that. I hit this way more times than I should have. So there's that. Exhaust-wise, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't put a new exhaust on it. This sounded great, gave heaps of punch and power. I mean, yeah, there is some amazing exhaust out there that you could put onto this, but this worked. This was great. It sounded awesome, but it wasn't annoying on a highway. So just leave this one. You don't need to worry about it. But as I said, for me, it's another bike where I could not put on a saddlebag, and the kind of luggage plate up here was very small. So maybe look at that. Maybe look at putting a bigger luggage plate on the back. And then obviously go to Adventure On Store, talk to Nelson. He definitely knows how to kind of set these bikes up for a bit more adventure, kind of overnight stuff. I mean, for me, it's just been overnight pub runs, because that's all I really wanted to do. B&B do the luggage plates for this. So check them out, because they will be able to help you out with this, and they have really nice ones, especially the black one. Get a black one. I guess last off is usually my thing that I play with all bikes. TTS. And for this, I didn't have to. So for me, tits is tires, teeth, and suspension. So tires wise, definitely would change them, but these were okay off the box. I'd probably go a Plus at the front and maybe the big one on the back, depending on what you want to do, but definitely have a look at that. Teeth, sprocket wise, I would probably go, for me anyway, I would go down a tooth if I could on the back. My preference, just the way I ride and the way I like it. Maybe, if not, maybe, I guess leave it. I suppose if you're going to do some longer touring, you probably look at it, but sprockets, okay. Suspension, look, KYBs, like you can't go wrong with KYBs, especially if they're serviced. Talking to Stel from On Point Moto and Suspension, he helped me kind of dial it in a little bit. Definitely adjusted the sag in the back, which was great. But for me, yeah, you could spend some money on it, but I liked it out of the box. Yes, I bottomed it out, but I mean, at the same time, I'm like 105, 110, 115 kilos loaded myself, and then whatever gear I am, I mean, you're probably looking at like 130 kilos. I mean, that's going to be quite hard for any stock bike. So this one handled it well. So yeah, as I said, the three main components that I muck around with on this bike, I didn't really have to. So that's a big win. Right, so final thoughts is that, yes, all the hype is right. This is a great bike. It does everything you want it to do at an amazing price package. I think if you wanted to do a bit more highway than dirt, the 800. If you really want to be in the dirt and still do a bit of highway, this over the 300 rally. The KTM, yeah, I mean, yes, this is a Chinese bike, and yes, the KTM is technically, well, no, it's an Indian bike now. I would go this. I mean, the DR, there's other bikes out there, the same kind of capacity. I think this is kind of nicer for the highway, and you could still work in the singles. But once again, everybody's different. The way you ride is going to be completely different to the way that I ride, and what you want in the bike is completely different to what anyone else wants. So be just realistic with your skill, with what you're actually going to do with it, and where you actually want to take it, because that will help you determine what you want to buy. But for me, yeah, I'd maybe buy one, maybe. So yeah, that's it. That's my final thoughts. Don't really know what else to say. Thank you so much for tuning in to these videos. Hope you like them. Subscribe to the YouTube stuff. Go check out our podcast, because we have a podcast too, which we interview riders from across Australia. in all forms, flat track and trials, desert racing, hard enduro, everything. So check the podcast out. Subscribe and like, whatever you have to do for these videos, because I'm going to keep making them, and I'm fortunate enough that people keep still giving me bikes. So we have a whole bunch more bikes coming up. Enjoy the video. Get after it. Cheers.